Welcome back to Confront Your Mind. I'm Jolynn,
I'm Tiffany. Join us as we talk about how to confront the uncomfortable in life,
while also allowing space for laughter as we learn. Hey!
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Today we're going to be talking about confidence.
Yeah.
Would you like to share our definition?
Absolutely. So confidence is a feeling of self-assurance. This is from Oxford Dictionary, by the way.
Gotta give credit where credit's due.
Gotta give creds. Oxford Dictionary, a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. That's it.
Love that.
Yeah. What do you like about that definition?
Well,
I'm still getting comfy.
I mean, I like it because there were like a couple definitions, and like one of them was just like knowing that something's true, whatever. But I like confident. Like we're more talking about like self-confidence, not confidence in others. Like we're gonna mainly just talk about self-confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good specification.
Yeah,
or differentiation.
We might actually call it like self-confident. I don't know. Anyway,
because it's all about confidence, baby.
You haven't had singing in a while.
Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're really letting us all down.
She was a confident lady. And I know that she's driving me crazy.
I didn't expect you to get up and get us going. I was like, where is she going?
She's going.
These really restrict.
They really did. I was like, I'm honestly just trying to pull my pants down a little bit to get a little bit more comfortable. Because my pants like will rise up.
Why are you talking so slow?
I'm so sorry.
My pants will rise.
My pants will rise up and they will like look like high waters. Because if I do this.
All right.
Look.
Okay. All right. You're incredibly off track right now. I love you so much.
Okay, shut up.
Okay, just stay on the track.
You're right.
All right. So you asked me what I like about the definition.
Yes. Sorry. I was like not prepared.
What I was going to say is that talks about self-assurance arising from, I like how it talks about appreciating your own abilities and qualities.
Yeah.
Because I feel like to have confidence, it helps to have self-appreciation, and I just feel like that's something that a lot of people, myself included, like could use to practice a little bit more, like is appreciating yourself.
Well, it's even kind of like what we talked about last week with imposter syndrome. Is like that ability to appreciate your own abilities which is what fights the imposter syndrome. Right.
Yeah, they really are. They're very related, which I wouldn't normally think of it that way, but
yeah, absolutely. And I think even like when we were younger, I think there was this idea around confidence that it was this thing you had to fake. And I don't necessarily think that it is, because I think that is the essence of confidence.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because
confidence is just kind of like, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but I hope that it does. But I think confidence is that believing in your ability to get through it. Like, I'm nervous and I don't think I have the skills to perform like an 8-hour recital. Obviously, I definitely don't. But like,
I bet you have though.
There has been times. But no.
Well, I like what you just said though about getting through, like how you can be nervous and still confident.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point. Like you can still be you can be nervous. It's not like you can't be nervous in order to be confident. You can be anxious and nervous and still have the essence of confidence, because confidence is like an outlook on a situation sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. What are some ways that you found confidence for yourself?
So I've had a struggle with having like self-confidence, as you know.
Yeah.
And
I do in fact know that.
And I think that's something that I realized, which is something it reminds me of what book? 12 Rules for Life? Yes, the lobster thing, Yeah. It's like presenting it's like the way that you present yourself.
Yes. Oh, there's also another one called Stand Straight with your
stand up straight with your shoulders back. And that's so true, because we talked about it in a previous podcast, but I'll just bring it up again. It's like, it's just talking so much about how the way that you like physically present yourself, not necessarily like the way you dress or look or whatever, which those things can help with confidence for sure, but like just your stance, like the way that you stand, like are your shoulders back, are you like cowering, and that sends a message to other people, and it also sends a message to yourself. And so that's something that I kind of learned, and especially like I used to get really nervous because talk about imposter syndrome. I used to get really nervous whenever I first became a nurse, because I was like, when I went into it, I didn't even think about the fact that like, here I am like 20, what was I, like 22?
Yeah,
or
like
so.
21 or 22.
Like very young. And
you're a little baby.
And just a little baby. Then I was like, not thinking about how most people that are in the hospital, if you don't work in like a children's hospital, are going to be older than you. And that was something that was really hard for me, because like I was like, so I'm supposed to like their life is in my hands, and they're like, they have so much more like experience than me, and like they're older than me, like they know more than me in general, right? And so that was really scary to me, like coming in and being like, hello, I'm going, like these people
I am baby nurse,
like
and take care of you.
Like I worked at Duke, and these people would be like fresh from a heart transplant, like they just got their heart transplanted, and I would be like, hello, I'm gonna be your nurse tonight. Like, crazy. And it scared me, like, really bad. It's still so scary to think about, but it
is scary.
But it's like,
that's like high intensity care.
Yeah.
Which you were qualified to do it.
Right. But it's scary. And so, but yeah, I didn't have confidence about that. And that was like, it was really hard. And I had to like figure out a way. Like, I was like, how am I going to like, so something that I realized is even just the way that I changed my tone.
I just realized the door's open.
Chester has joined the group chat.
Should we shut the door?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay.
But like the way that even just changing my tone and like my demeanor with my patients, like, made me like come across so much more confident, and then it like made me more confident.
Yeah.
And it's like what you're saying, like it's like faking it, but as soon as you start faking it, you like get more confident, because I went from like, I used to, like when I had first started, I'd come in and like I was so nervous, and like I'd be like, hello sir, I'm gonna be your nurse tonight, and then I went to like, I just would come in and carry myself more strongly, like enter the room with purpose, and like be like, hello, like either shake their hand or like come near them and like make eye contact, make direct eye contact, and like, I'm gonna be taking care of you tonight, like, yes, me, my 20-year-old
this girl right here.
Because when I worked in the ER, like people would be like, are you in nursing school? Because like I guess I looked young, and they'd be like, are you in nursing school? And I was like, no, in fact, like I'm not. And like I would, instead of being like, haha, nervous, I would have confidence and answer their question, and like be like, no, I've actually been doing this for over a year, so like I'm I gotcha.
That reminds me of like, I have an example of it too, is like because I also like looked young when I first started my career as a counselor, and
we've aged.
We have aged, not much, but
we're getting up there.
But like, I remember when I first started my counseling career, people would question me because I was young, and they would be like, how much do you really know about marriage? And I'm like, little do you know. I've been married for 3 years.
I thought you were going to say like when you started and you're like, I've been married for 3 months.
Actually,
that was
actually significantly more accurate.
That was really weird. It's like a plane or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is definitely, I was like, what is that?
But yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and then I would talk to, because in counseling, they're like, you don't have to self-disclose if you don't want to. But I actually really liked self-disclosing. I'd be like, yeah, I'm 23 and I have a master's degree in mental health. Like, I actually do know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the time I was like, obviously very much like, they're right, I know nothing about marriage. Yeah. And like, or like, yeah, they're right, I don't know anything about addiction. And like, which is just like not true. Like, I studied it for like 6 years to like get to where I'm at, and like just because somebody like doesn't see that, like just because I don't look a certain way doesn't take away from like my experience. Yeah. But it also goes to show too, like you have to have like that confidence in like what you know. Like I know that I went to school for over 6 years. Yeah. To like work in this field. Yeah. Like
Every time when I worked in, it was the worst in the ER. Like every time I went to start someone's IV, like they would be like, "Have you ever done this before?" And I was always like, "Yes,
multiple times.
I'm very good at it, actually." Because but that's another good point on confidence too, is that like the things that you are confident in yourself about, like be bold about it, you know.
Absolutely.
And like be proud of yourself. Like that was my like, anyone I worked with can tell you, like that was like my like shining ability was starting IVs. Like I wasn't the perfect nurse, but I was really good at starting an IV. And so like I would tell like, and I wasn't, you know, it's not like I was doing it to comfort patients, but whenever I worked pre-op, like, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, like I have rolling veins or whatever." And like I would tell them, like I'd be like, "Well, I'm actually like I'm really good at this, so like don't worry." You know, like, but it's, you know, instead of you know, selling yourself short, like you can be confident and tell somebody like something that you're good at, and it's okay. Like,
yeah, like, I think don't overthink it.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, like don't feel like it's not bragging, it's literally just being proud of yourself. And I think like that mindset shift is a lot.
I want to like add on to that too, because I think that was a good point. Is like I think a lot of the times in the world we live in, people think that if you're like being confident in your abilities that you're bragging, and I don't think
they're different things.
True. Yeah, they're very different things. And like
especially if it fits the scenario,
right? Like you don't want to like go into surgery for your back and like a doctor to be like, yeah, like I just don't know, I feel
I'm not like that good of a surgeon, I'm not the best,
right? Like I'm not, like sometimes I mess up. Oh, like I would be like, where do I cancel? Can I cancel the surgery right now? Like,
that's a good point.
Like you want a surgeon that comes in and he's like, I've done 37 surgeries, like or, you know, like in the past 2 days, like, you know, something like
I could do this in my sleep.
I can do this in my sleep. Like I have an amazing team behind me. Like I want to hear that you have confidence in what you're doing. Like if I'm buying a product from you, whether that be surgery or like a t-shirt, like I want to know that you have the confidence in your ability, but also in your work. And that goes a long way too.
Yeah, I think sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I like was like thinking on my, I was like, and but it also like same with friends. Like when I pursue friendships, I want to be friends with people who are confident in themselves. Yeah, like because that's something I really like about you as my friend. Thanks. Is that you're like very confident. Like you don't try to like pretend like you're somebody you're not to, like you're not, like you're very much like I am who I am and you get what you get, like and I'm like, period. I like that, give me that. Where can I buy that?
I went in.
How much to be in your group?
What I was gonna say that I'm gonna forget, so I'm gonna say it, is taking, like, I think it's so important to take out the negativity that's like, if you have negativity associated with confidence, like take it away, because that was me. Like I feel like I had negativity associated with it, because I feel like one of my big things was always like, I think it's so admirable to be humble and be down to earth and be this and that, and so I like equated that to like, you don't want to talk good about yourself, you don't want, you know, you want to make sure you're staying humble, you're staying whatever. And so I think that I just naturally like would talk down to myself, because like I was like, well, at least I'm not like, you know, I don't think highly of myself. And I thought that was a good thing. Like I thought it was a good thing to not think highly of myself.
You're like, I mean, I'm not the best.
Yeah. And then I like realized that
I'm far from it.
That's not helpful, you know? And so it really like helped whenever I was like, you know, to shift your focus on like being on the positive things about yourself, on what you think you're good at, and what you think, what qualities you think, like what it talks about, the qualities. I don't know where it went. You made it go away. But you know,
it's right here.
Yes, appreciation of one's own qualities. Yeah, like learn to appreciate your good qualities, and like, yeah, it's still really good to, you definitely need to still acknowledge and work on your bad qualities. Like I think that's just as important, but I think that sometimes people tend to like focus, we tend to focus on our negative qualities, and then the good qualities we're like, oh yeah, I've got that covered, like it's okay, I don't need to focus on that. But it's like, you need to acknowledge those too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like one of the most important parts of it, is like realizing that confidence is more than just like this fake like face you put on. It's actually like this belief in yourself where you're like, yeah, like I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm gonna make it. And then it's so much more than that too. It's like, you know, being genuinely like in tune with your abilities and like what you're capable of.
Well, and like you said, like genuine is a good word, because, you know, I'm sure we've all experienced like somebody who is very like braggy and cocky, and really overly confident, and how sometimes you come to find out that they're actually like very insecure and they're actually not confident.
Yeah.
And so it's that, you know, just trying to like put that on or whatever. And so I think that that's not what we're trying to get at. Like, have a genuine confidence and like dig into like, you know, yourself and what you appreciate about yourself and what you're proud of yourself for, and have like a true confidence, not just like an air of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the important part.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So how do you like up your confidence whenever you're not feeling confident?
I love that you asked this question.
I mean, because I feel like you're good at that sometimes.
I am, actually. Like, that was kind of like how my childhood began.
I don't understand.
No, I was so like, whenever I was like, I'm just thinking back to like my like history with confidence, is like when I was in middle school, I was like really insecure about the way that I looked, like, because you know we grew up in the South, and so like everybody has like blonde hair, tan skin, blue eyes, and I'm very pale and have red hair. And
that's wild. Okay.
Do you hear it?
Yeah, but it's much louder with this on. Anyway.
That's kind of like freaking me out.
Yeah, it's okay.
It sounds like there's somebody in the house.
Oh, okay. That's
like, it sounds like some... What did you think I was going to say?
Nothing, I don't know.
What did you think that I was going to say?
I mean...
Now you're scaring me.
No, I'm not scared. Go ahead. You had red hair and pale skin.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
you
like,
were insecure about
my
it.
confidence journey was like I had red hair, pale skin. Like a lot of my friends when I was like in middle school, we were like very tan, and they talked about being tan, and they like pointed out my skin, and like, you know,
rude.
Yeah. A lot of people would point out how pale I was.
It's like, thank you. I've never noticed.
I've lived with this my whole life, and I never knew that I was pale. And it wasn't like in a positive way either. Like, they would be like, "Oh, you're so pale."
And it doesn't look.
And then they'd be like, "I love getting tan." And I was like, "Mom, is this normal?"
Mom, can you come pick me up?
Mom, I want to go home.
Oh my god.
But no, like, seriously, they would be like, "I love tanning. I love tanning." I'm not kidding. This is actually like very vivid memories.
I did not do that, just to be
No,
clear.
yeah, Tiffany never did that.
You know, like, me, like, remember that burn I got on senior trip? Oh my gosh. That was so embarrassing.
Well, and then people would try to like pedal back after. They would be like, "You're so pale." And I would be like, "Thanks." Like, what do I say? Like, true. That is a fact. Like, you are correct. Like, and then they would be like, "Oh, no, like, it looks really good with your hair and your eyes." And I'm like, I know. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, that's what I started doing, is just
yeah, because what else do you say? Like,
yeah, because I really wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that that's okay with you. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
I really want to say, at least I won't look like a leather travel bag when I get to turn 60. Like, but that was middle school Jolyn. That was definitely my thoughts, though.
Travel bag. Ooh, that's funny.
It was my thoughts, man. I was like little leather weekender bag. Little lump with arms and legs. But no, I mean, because like I remember, like, it was because I was in middle school, you know, I was like developing, and I was like, you know, I was like growing. I was becoming very aware of my body, and like,
let's not go there.
No, but I'm saying, like, I was becoming very aware of like my body and the way I looked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
I wasn't gonna go into that today. Way that I looked.
Maybe a different time.
No, maybe another time, but now is not the time for that. But like the way I looked in comparison to other people. And also, that's like the time when people really start commenting on like those things. And so I really had never noticed it until
girls
then.
Especially, I feel like, start comparing themselves in like middle school. Like, oh, like, I look different than you, and here's what's different. And
my mom would always like, and I love my mom, and she would always be like, "You're just what'd she call me?" She said I was a unique, and that was nice. But which I do think that was nice. But what did she call exotic? That's what she said.
Oh,
Like, and like, because I don't look like, I don't have blonde hair and tan skin,
okay,
you know. Like,
that.
so in that sense, exotic, you know.
That's cute.
Like from Ireland, exotic from
Ireland.
Ireland.
Is so cute.
But she really did hype me up and like make me feel good about myself. Like especially when people were like pointing out that like my skin was really pale, and like not in a good way. So that was one of those things where like my confidence really started to shake a little bit early on. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not like cute. Because I think about confidence. Because for me, that confidence started like with like my physical appearance. And so like that was one of the places where I was like maybe started to notice like I was like, no, like, and I like would talk to my mom about it. And my mom would always be like, girl, you are like so unique and exotic and beautiful. Like, yeah, you're not tan, but you have like gorgeous pale skin and you know you have beautiful red hair and like pretty little freckles. Like I remember how she would just like always tell me like I was just so pretty. And that was I'm almost like about to start crying.
I love Jean
because I remember it. Like she was very sweet. And like as I grew up, like those are the things that stood out to me. And even though like there were times where I didn't feel pretty because I didn't look like other girls of my age, like I still like was able to have confidence in myself. Like, and I was like, that was the way I like focused on my confidence is like, I don't necessarily think that I was like faking it till I made it, but I definitely think like I was like, no, like I'm all that in a bag of chips. Like, I don't care what you say about me. Like, I was like, cause I would like started joking about it too. I was like, well, at least like, I don't even know what I used to say about like, no, I think I really did start saying like, people would be like, oh, like, well, your hair looks good with your skin or something like that. Like, and I'd be like, yeah, I know. Like, because I was just so tired of people like pointing out, and it would just become that. And I was just like, I don't really need you to comment on my appearance for me to like, for my like appearance to be validated by you. And then people stopped commenting on my appearance. Thank God. And then people would also be like, you're so beautiful. And like, you know, those old people that would come up from like Cracker Barrel bathrooms, they'd be like, you're so pretty, you little girl. I'm not sure that
scary.
It was. But anyways, one of the ways that I like worked through that and like would make sure that I like felt good about myself was like I would write I had this long mirror in my room, like from middle school to like now. I mean, I think it's still my childhood bedroom. But I would like write like my homework assignments on it. But then I started writing like nice little like compliments to myself. Like I would like write what felt true. Like I really always have liked my eyes. And so like I started with like I have pretty eyes, and then like slowly like I started believing these things about me. Like and I would just practice saying them to myself in the mirror. And I'd be like, I have pretty eyes and I have a pretty face, and like slowly it became like I am beautiful. And like I think, you know, writing that on the mirror and like finding the confidence and like working my way up towards like what feels true was like something that really like stood out to me. And like that's kind of like I don't want to really consider it faking it till you make it, but I would consider it like hyping myself up, like gassing myself up, like finding the things that are good and like the things that I like about myself. And like I would write like I am kind, I am smart, you know. And
I feel like I see things around your house now like that like say like qualities about yourself too, like that little thing out there that like says I am
creative, unique, seen. That's really nice. I like it.
Yeah, but that's cool. I like the notes to yourself. That's cool.
Yeah, I've always found that like, you know, and that was something my mom also did good as well. She would tell me like, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you because you're the one that has to like live with yourself.
That's a really good, that's a really good thing to think about.
And she was like, and if you don't like yourself, then like that's miserable, you know, like you get to choose to have confidence in yourself. You get to choose to like love who you are and love the way you look and love what you put out in the world. But you also have to love like what you do. You know, why would anybody want to be with somebody if they don't love themselves? You know, like I don't want to, like I want to love somebody who loves themselves.
And it's like hard to watch, like it's also difficult to watch somebody that you love like
be sad,
not love themselves.
And obviously when I say that, I know there's also times in our lives where people like where we have like lapses where we like don't feel good and where we don't feel confident. And that's like not what I'm saying, but I'm saying like if there's a chronic lack of self-worth, like it's really difficult to like love like people who have a chronic lack of self-worth because it's like you can't convince them. They have to convince themselves. And so it's almost like you're constantly arguing with somebody about what you see in them.
Yeah.
And that's really tough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I think for me, that's kind of where it started is like, and then, yeah, like and then I think fake it till you make it. My mom said that too, is like, fake it till you make it. But I think like one thing I read one time is like, nobody is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you.
Yeah, that is so true as well. Like in every way. Like the way you look, the way that you're talking, the way that you're presenting, the way that you like what you believe, things like that. Like I feel like because you're judging yourself like so hard all the time, or at least I am, it's like you think that that's what everybody else is thinking about, and that's super unrealistic. Like a lot of the times, sometimes it makes me feel better to think about like, you know, whenever I was freaking out about quitting my job and I had no confidence about it, and like really the main thing I had to tell myself was like, you know, like nobody really cares. Like like it is like I'm acting like the whole company is gonna go under because I'm leaving, you know, like the whole hospital like is gonna, you know, like not gonna know what to do, and it's like that's not true. Like they'll be fine. Like they're literally just gonna be like, well, that's just another nurse that quit, you know. It's not like the way that you're thinking about yourself. Like you know, people are like, we are very selfish, and so like we work ourselves up to be like, you know, like this, you know, very important thing. And like in some, I'm not saying like we're not important, but you know, in some scenarios, like you're thinking like, oh, like what are they gonna do without me? Yeah. And in some scenarios, yeah, like you are. And that's like nursing is a perfect example. Like you are super extra replaceable as a nurse.
And not in a way that like you don't make an impact, in a way that like the world has to go on whether or not you show up. Like the world like literally will like go asleep and wake up the next day whether or not you show up to work, or whether or not you show up for yourself. Like so, and I think why not show up for yourself? Like if the world is going to go on, like why not like show up for yourself and fight for your life and like do things that you're proud of. But yeah,
we're trying to make these a little shorter, so I'm like watching the time. Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, and so I think it like affects the positive feedback loop. So
yeah, well, and that's like the best part of it is that like whenever you practice confidence, like confidence creates confidence, right?
Yes, I was literally gonna say that.
Okay, yeah, I was like, okay.
The more you practice it, the more it's like, I love going back to our motivation and routines podcast, but it's like data. Like the more you practice it, the more it grows.
Yeah, and then you're like, hey, that felt really good. And I had like, for me, it's like whenever I'm confident and I go throughout a day and I'm like, wow, I was like really confident today in every choice that I made and everything that I said and everything I chose to do, then it feels really good. And then I feel so much less anxiety. And so then I go back and I'm like, you know, like whatever I did to create that, I want to do that again. And it just like is a positive feedback loop. And I was going to share a story.
Do it.
About me and grocery stores.
Go for it.
Because I have always really hated the grocery store.
I have a story after yours.
Okay, but we got to make it quick.
About walking into rooms.
Okay, sure. But like my thing is the grocery store.
Yes. Grocery store story.
I like used to get like, I don't even know, like scared's not the right word, but like I hate the grocery store. Like it makes me anxious because I'm like again, that was another thing I had to tell myself, like nobody cares about you, like because
nobody is thinking about you half as much as you're thinking about yourself.
Like whenever I went to
they're all thinking about themselves that way. Like it's not because like you don't care, like you don't matter. But
and
like,
whenever I would go to the grocery store, like I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want all these people looking at me. Like I felt like you know, in Inception, whenever like everybody's looking at that girl, like that's literally the way that I felt, which is just a manifestation of like my anxiety. Like it's a delusion like that I was creating. Like I felt like people, like whenever I passed by somebody, like they were like looking at me like a nightmare. Like it scared me so bad. And that's the way that I like thought about going to the grocery store. Like I was just like, I don't want to be interacting with all these people, like looking at me, whatever. And that was something like I talked about in therapy, because I was like, I hate going to the grocery store. And, you know, she's like, anyway, she helped me through that, because she was like, you know, like kind of challenged me to think like, are those people actually like looking at you, or are you like looking at them thinking like, are they looking at me? You know, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like I was overthinking it and thinking of a whole different, like I was making up a scenario in my head and thinking like, well, what if this, what if that? And it's like, you know, I had to shift my thoughts and like work on thinking, like, nobody cares. Like when I walked into the grocery store, I was like, okay, nobody cares that I'm here. Like I am another member of the Walmart. I am
another member of society.
It doesn't matter. And then the second thing is like, I started like focusing on what I was doing, because I was like, okay, like for me, when I go to the grocery store, like I am there to get groceries. And like, it sounds so like silly, but it's like,
no, it doesn't.
It was really like life-changing whenever I learned to go to the grocery store and just like do what I was doing, focus on me, and like not worry about what other people were doing.
Right.
And it like made it so much more of a pleasant experience. And like the whole thing is just like what you're saying, like it's like nobody's focused on you. Like you think that like these people are watching you and judging you and like thinking about what you're doing, and they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time they're not.
Yeah, mine's actually really similar to that. Is like I used to think the exact same thing. Like people would like, anytime I would go into a place, I thought people were like looking at me, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, do you see that redheaded girl over there?" And like really like, and I mean, I'm sure people did look at me like when I walked into a place, because people just observe people when they walk into a new place.
It's not like nobody's gonna look at people. Yeah.
But like to me, it's important to be confident, and so I was like, I want to appear like a confident person. So I like started like putting that value into like practice when I would go out and like go to places. I would, you know, walk into the room and I would keep my head up and I would keep my chin held high, and I would also like do a scan.
Like eye contact.
Like, I would like look around the room, and not because I was looking for people to like see if they were looking at me, but because I wanted to like take a moment and just let myself be uncomfortable for a little bit. So practice discomfort and just look around the room, and then go in the direction that I want to go, instead of like trying to quickly like go to the right or find my friends.
And like being avoidant or whatever.
Getting on my phone and texting somebody.
Yeah, you know, like, I used to like always do that. Like I would be like, oh, if I'm like on my phone, like I'll be busy doing something. And, you know.
And I think that's like how you apply it, is like you like talk, you like look inside yourself, you journal about it, you talk to a friend about it, and like figure out like what it means to be confident to you. And then you start practicing it. And just because you're practicing doesn't mean that it's not you. Like just because you practice something, like just because you practice like tennis doesn't mean you're not a tennis player. It means that you're like learning how to be this way. Like you're learning
that's
how
exactly
to be
how
confident.
You should look at confidence. Like you're practicing it to learn how to like perfect it. Obviously you'll never perfect it, but it's like you're practicing it to like get closer to being confident, and then eventually you will be confident. And like obviously like I could be more confident, and I hope that I will be more confident, but it's like right now I'm so much more confident on a scale than I used to be like a year ago. And so I hope to just keep growing in that. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's like one of those like important ways of applying it, is like just remember like it's a practice. It's a it doesn't happen overnight. Like fake it till you make it. Yeah, but that's also like put it into practice, you know, whether that be like I did when I was in middle school, and like writing on the mirror, or like with Tiffany, like reminding yourself like that you are where you need to be. You know, like having that faith in yourself,
and like you have the right. Something about confidence I love too is the whole like you have the right to like take up space. Like yes, because that's like something that, you know, like I feel like a lot of times, like, you know, we tend to be like, oh, I don't want to be in anybody's way, and I don't want to inconvenience anybody, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's okay. Like everybody else is taking up space as well. So like you can too.
You deserve to take up just as much space as anybody else in this world.
You own your little like square foot of space or whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all you have to do.
That's all.
Because it's all about confidence.
Go forth and be confident.
And she was a confident. Shakira. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Are we next week we're talking about
kindness.
Kindness and encouragement, like being encouraging to others.
Yeah.
Lifting others up.
Having a little like positive footprint on the world around you.
Love that.
Yeah. So if you liked this podcast, please subscribe.
Like and share.
Yes. And if you have any questions, you can email us.
confrontyourmind@gmail.com.
All right.
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram @confrontyourmind. Is that everything?
And on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. Subscribe.
All right. I think that's everything. So remember that we're all learning.
And don't be afraid to get confrontational this week.
Bye.